Hello and welcome to UK Fitness Hub. My name's Travis Tarrant, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the IT band and what we can do to best stretch it out. Let's get into the video. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So firstly, when we're talking about the IT band, we're talking about the iliotibial band. And it's called a band because it's a band of thick connective tissue. It starts off and originates at the iliac crest and the ASIS. It runs down the outside of the leg, starting off thicker at the top and then thins as it gets closer to the knee. It inserts on the tibia bone, this is the tibia bone, at the lateral condyle, and this is known as Gerdy's tubercle, just where my index finger is here. What I'll do is I'll pan now to a picture so you can see it in a diagram. And when we're talking about connective tissues, they're always illustrated in white. So I'll put that on screen now. And when we're thinking about the IT band, I like to think of it really simply as a tendinous extension of the TFL muscle. When the IT band gets chronically tight and shortened, what can happen is people can start to develop lateral knee pain. So if we think about the positioning of the IT band, if I use this resistance band as an example, it's running like so. And the position of the outside of the knee, let's take the index finger as where the IT band is. It can cause, when people come into flexion, so flexion of the knee is like so, the IT band pops over this little ridge here on the outside. So every time someone comes into flexion, it's pop and then back, pop and then back. This will often be highlighted when people maybe run or when people do deep squats. So it'll be this popping, cracking sensation on the outside of the leg. So that would be what we call IT band syndrome. And I'll do a separate video on that covers that in a lot more detail. And then the other thing that can happen, again thinking about the two places where it attaches and originates, that's number one. It can affect the hip. So if we think about something really tight, pulling on the hip, that is going to have an effect on the hip's position. So think of the hips as being nice and straight. IT band's one side, it's going to pull the hip down into this kind of direction. And that's then going to have an effect on the back muscles, the pelvic muscles, cause pelvic imbalances. You might get hip pain, especially lower back pain. So it's quite common as well for those to be symptoms and actually there to be no lateral knee pain. It might be one or the other or both. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to look at some of the best stretches that you can add into your routines to start targeting the IT band and the surrounding musculature. Let's get into those stretches. For the first stretch, I'm using a resistance band, but you can use a belt or a dog leash to the same effect. I loop the resistance band underneath my foot, beneath my toes, then come onto my back and begin to raise my leg up towards the sky. My resting leg is bent with my foot in contact with the floor. As you pull back, it's crucial to keep your knee completely straight. It shouldn't be bent at all. Begin to pull the leg away from you. Here, I'm stretching my left leg, so I'm pulling my left leg towards my right-hand side. Once in this position, you can keep your ankle straight or relax the ankle and allow it to also be pulled to the side, dependent on your ankle mobility. Either version is fine, and it's a matter of personal preference. Stretch for 30 seconds and do 2 sets on both sides. You can also stretch the IT band in a standing position. Start off facing forwards with your feet hip width apart and toes pointed forwards. Cross the leg that you would like to stretch behind your opposite leg and raise the arm of the same side you're stretching and begin to side bend. To intensify the stretch, you can bring your hips further away from the midline of your body, or you can swap from a planted foot position to an inverted foot position where you're on the outside of your foot as you do the stretch, as shown here. This is a better stretch for those that do outdoor running or outdoor cycling that need a stretch on the go without getting onto the floor. Again, stretch for 30 seconds for 2 sets over. The last stretch is the most abrasive stretch out of the 3 we're going to cover. Take all of the principles of stretch 2, but this time find a wall or fixed object and stand an arm's length away.
You're then going to use the wall or fixed object as a support as you bring your hips further away from the midline of your body in a far more abrasive position than in stretch 2. You can use an outstretched hand or your elbow to support yourself. Using your elbow might be more beneficial for those with hand or wrist pain. If this is the first time you've ever stretched out the IT band and surrounding muscles, I would highly advise you start off gently and start slowly progressing onto harder variations of stretching. There is no need to do all of these stretches back to back after a workout. These stretches are just to show some of the different options you have when targeting the outer thigh. Like the previous stretches, hold for 30 seconds, 2 sets over.
And that concludes the end of today's video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stretches and there's something suitable for you. Putting in a variety of stretches is always good because it gives you the choice to be able to pick the one that you best like and then persist with that stretch. Try them all out, see which works for you, and then just move forward with that stretch. Make sure not to overdo it, and if it's the first time you've ever done these stretches, be nice and gentle. If you've got any questions for me, don't hesitate to put them in the comments box and I'll get back to them as soon as possible. Otherwise, like the video if you learned something new and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more free and educational content. My name's Travis Tarrant. You've been watching UK Fitness Hub. I'll see you soon.